Hey, welcome to the first episode of Veteran Strong USA, the one show, maybe the only show in Orange County, that's focused on our veteran community, both locally and throughout the state of California. With the man who's kind of made this his mission to do both, Ted Fuentes. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Paul Roberts. Thank you, OCTalkRadio. Welcome to Veteran Strong USA podcast, broadcasting right here on OCTalkRadio. I'm Ted Fuentes, and together we're shining light on the mental health challenges facing our veteran community right here in Orange County and across California. Through real conversations with veterans, mental health professionals, and community leaders, we'll explore the struggles, share the triumphs, and highlight the resources that save lives and restore families. Because at Veteran Strong USA, we believe in empowering veterans one horse at a time. This is more than a podcast, it's a mission. Let's ride. My name's Ted Fuentes. I'm a United States Air Force veteran. I served from 86 to 93. I was a crew chief on KC-135s, and in about 2009 is when I started my journey with veteran advocacy and working legislation for veterans and locally here in Orange County on improving veteran programs. And through my journey, I've come to learn really the mental health challenges in our community and this ridiculous daily suicide number of 43 per day. They tell us it's 22, but it's 43. At Veteran Strong, we heal veterans, military, and their family members where the horse is the central focal point of their healing. I couldn't be happier than to have a friend of mine, Leanna Rice, as my first guest. And I'll let Leanna share her background, her journey. She's also on the advisory council for Veteran Strong, and I'm just proud to have her here. Welcome, Leanna.
Hi, Ted. Thank you so much for having me as the first guest. I feel really honored to be here and to talk about veteran services and equine assisted services with you. So just like you said, a little bit about my story and my background. I'm originally from Idaho, and I grew up on a ranch. We had 10 acres. I was very blessed to have the property and the ranch that we did. My dad was a two-tour Brown Water Navy veteran from the Vietnam era. He was drafted right before he would have gone to the University of Utah with a full ride scholarship for skiing, but he missed his tryout by like 0.16 of a second or so and got drafted. And he spent, I want to say, maybe 6 years in the Navy. I'm not really 100% sure. He won't talk about it. But when he came home, he experienced a lot of the traditional things that Vietnam-era veterans struggled with. He didn't feel like he belonged. He didn't have the opportunity to access services. At the time, the VA did not recognize Vietnam as a conflict, so he couldn't have gotten the services he needed had he have even wanted to get the services, which he didn't.
Yeah, they used to call the Vietnam veterans just crazy. Now we call it PTSD.
Yes, yep, exactly. It's progressed a lot since then. But I came around, and really my childhood was exposed to a lot of the struggles that he experienced. He didn't have access to care. He was very emotionally stunted. He was very angry, just really dysregulated, really all over the place. Had a really hard time sleeping, really struggled with nightmares. The whole gambit of what an individual who's exposed to war experiences. But I was really lucky to get to see what my dad became when he was with the horses. So he always had horses. We always had at least 3, one for myself, my mom, and my dad. And we would just go out on the trail. We would just go out, ride in the mountains, ride on the property, do whatever. But as with horses, they require a lot of work. So
Yes,
we would feed and we would muck out. And anytime just being around him, being around the horses, he was calm, he was quiet, he was patient. He taught me more about caring for something when we worked with the horses than pretty much any other period in time in my childhood. So it was really difficult to grow up with my father, the Vietnam era veteran, but it was really wonderful to grow up with my father, the horseman. So from a very young age, I knew I wanted to be in the helping professions, and it sounds super cliche that this is what I've always wanted to do, but I've always wanted to work with military because of my father, because of what I watched him go through, and I knew the veterans deserved better than that. So I went to the University of Idaho, got my bachelor's in psychology, and then went to the University of Southern California and got my master's in social work with an emphasis in military mental health, because I was determined to be able to work with that particular population, and I knew I needed to be educated in the way that veteran services work and how veterans operate. So I did that, and I drifted a little bit away from horses as I was going through college and grad school. It's really hard to have a horse and go to school at the same time. So I drifted away from that, but in 2018, I was living in Pennsylvania and was reintroduced to horses, and there was a equine assisted psychotherapy facility that worked specifically with veterans and first responders near where I was living at the time, and I jumped on it. I said, this is exactly what I want to do, and I need to work there. And I worked there for, I want to say, 3 years before I moved back to Southern California. And during that time, I was introduced to the Shea Center from my aunt, who used to volunteer at Shea 15 years ago. And I just called our chief program officer, Janelle, one day and said, hey, this is what I do. I would love to come just tour the facility and see what you have to offer. And at the time, they had a military program with a partnership through the South Orange County Vet Center, but there was no mental health program. So over the past couple of years, I've been working on building out a mental health program at the Shea Center, which is now a fully launched part of our core program services for the past 2 years. And now my goal is to continue to grow our military programs and therapeutic horsemanship.
That's excellent. I know you've consulted with me and the Veteran Strong program, and we've leveraged your education and experience to develop a program right down the street from you guys, really.
Yeah.
And it's worked out great. Some of the things we do at Veteran Strong are obviously similar to what you do. We take a joint-up therapy, and we also combine it like with equine-assisted psychotherapy. We'll put the client through the joint-up stuff and explain to them what the horse language means to them. And then with veterans, I'm getting off track here, but with veterans, we typically have issues with trust, okay? And guess what else has issues with trust? Horses.
Yes.
Okay. And so we really have to learn to slow down our thinking and our actions to communicate with these animals, read the signs that they're giving us, soft eyes, soft nostrils, lowering the head, cutting the arena in half to join the herd, and what that means to a veteran and how it translates to their everyday life, communicating with their family, their work colleagues, just Joe and Jane Doe public, especially with our combat veterans who've really seen and experienced a lot. We have the non-combat veterans that have also experienced trauma in the military, which can lead to PTSD and addictions, TBI, military sexual trauma. That's a big one that gets swept under the rug. But I've been fortunate, like I said, to take the joint-up therapy. We do whatever 10-15 minute session with the client, and then the therapist will step into the round pen and she'll conduct her therapy session with the client afterwards, and it's worked out pretty good. I step out because I believe that relationship is with the therapist and the client, and I don't need to be in that discussion. But was hoping you could expand on what you do over there at Shea.
Sure, absolutely. So we do a bunch of things over there at Shea. We've got a lot of different things going on. So my main focal points is the mental health program and the military programs. So I've been licensed as a clinical social worker since 2017. So I'm knocking on 10 years now. That's wild. So I have built out that whole program, and that program works for anybody, civilian and military alike. I would run it just the same as a private practice does, and I I don't really like that word. I work with the horse as a partnership in teaching clients how to communicate, how to emotionally regulate, how to work through whatever it is that they might be going through. We work in the round pen with the horse at liberty for the most part, so that the horse gets an opportunity to display its own behaviors and the client gets to learn a little bit about their horse, which goes so much to say about that connection and learning how to trust and have a healthy relationship, which is so important for anybody, whether that's a young lady who's going through high school or a veteran who's been through military and is now trying to reintegrate through society, back to society. So that's a big part of what I do, and then the other part of what I do is military programs. Now, there might be some correlation. I might have a veteran who wants traditional equine-assisted psychotherapy, but for the most part, the military programs are different. We work a big part of what we do with our partnership through the South Orange County Vet Center. So the Vet Center brings down a group of 10 individuals, and we'll do a 12-week riding program for them. Each week is a development on the week prior, and each week also has a topic that's discussed during the psychotherapy portion of their session. I teach the riding lesson during that program, so in addition to myself being licensed as an LCSW, I'm also certified as a certified therapeutic riding instructor and an equine specialist in mental health and learning. So I teach these veterans kind of the basic concepts of riding, basic concepts of join up. That's one of the programs we have. And I've also started working on another program that's called the Cavalry Training Program. So what I'm doing in that program is taking some of our greener, newer horses who are still learning some stuff, and I'm working with the veterans who we all know are the thrill-seeking type. Yeah. So I combine those two individuals, and I teach the veteran the cavalry training basics. So how the men of old, when we still took horses into war, how they trained their mounts to go into war and to face all kinds of very scary things, which for a prey animal, which we know horses are, is insanely incredible that horses learned how to do that and learned how to be brave and face those things. So I teach just the basics on walk, trot, canter, go, stop, turn, just the basics, which is the foundational blocks for everything that they're going to need, from just walking around to going out on the trail to managing obstacles to doing flag ceremonies. They can do so many different things based on the foundational principles that I'm teaching them in that program. So those are the two main things that I'm working on right now, and my goal is to keep growing these programs and having more opportunity to do both over the year.
Excellent. You touched on the prey versus the predator.
Yes.
And we are the predator to them. So when we get in the round pen with them, I'd like for you to explain more about the join up.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. So join up is probably one of my favorite things.
Same here.
I love it.
Oh, and in my program, and I'm sure it's probably similar to yours, no one gets on the horse until they've learned how to communicate on the ground with the animal. So we focus on the join up 5 to 8 sessions. Some of these veterans and their kids, for that matter, they understand it very quickly, and I always start in the round pen with them. And then next session I may start with them and leave, and then third session I'll hope that they can get the horse to move and communicate with them by themselves. But sometimes I find myself going back into the round pen because I can tell when the horse is confused, when they're not giving clear signs or clear communication to the horse. So why don't you explain join up?
Sure, absolutely. So join up is a concept that goes back to natural herd behavior, and the foundational concepts when a young horse is acting out, doing its little foal thing, the mare will say, you know what, no, I'm tired of you, you're not following the rules, and she'll kick him out, quote unquote, kick him out of the herd and move him around the herd and until he starts to display the signs of submission. So a lowered head, licking and chewing, an ear and an eye constantly on the lead mare in that situation. And then once that has happened, that's in essence the foal saying, okay, I'm sorry, I understand, I learned my lesson, please let me back into the herd, because a prey animal in the wild on its own is not safe. So it shows those signs of submission. The mare will leave it back into the herd, and then we're good to go. So in join up with a human, we look at those same principles and those same concepts. I, the human, am going to use my body and my energy to move the horse around the round pen and potentially aim for all 3 gates, walk, trot, canter, or lope in your land. And can I go both directions? And does my horse then show me the signs of submission? That's the ideal. That's what we're looking for. But when we're working with somebody, a veteran or veteran family member, who maybe doesn't understand how to emotionally regulate or how to communicate, their dysregulation dysregulates the horse. So more often than not, when working in the veteran population, I will see veterans walk into the round pen and the horse just takes off because there's so much energy there coming from the veteran.
Yeah, this is a discussion I've had with several of my veteran brothers. I've only worked with one female veteran to date, but we are typically heavy-handed.
Yes.
Okay, because that's the way we were trained. Okay, and when I see that with the veteran and the animal, it could be as simple as putting a halter on the horse. Let's be gentle. Let's move slowly. If you start jerking around and stuff like that's going to be intimidating to the horse. And I work, and I'm sure you do too, just a more delicate touch to, again, that translates into how are you communicating with other humans. So anyways, didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that's exactly correct. And what I'll talk about with the veteran in that situation, or anybody honestly, is the concept of assertiveness. So as a therapeutic provider, assertiveness is something that I'm working on with every client, no matter who they are, because assertiveness isn't as prevalent in the community as it should be. People are either very passive and not involved at all, or just like you said, a little bit more heavy-handed and aggressive, and understanding that there's this place of assertiveness that's in the middle, and it isn't passive and it isn't aggressive. It's just this place for people to be able to be clear, and I'm going to communicate my needs to you, and I'm going to be direct and straightforward without being aggressive, is such a powerful therapeutic tool for clients to learn how to do that at home, in their relationship with their spouse or their kids, or even at work. Those are some areas where I think everybody, and veterans particularly, tend to struggle with, is how do I communicate my needs effectively?
Yes. So when the veteran steps into the round pen with the horse, a lot of us live with anxiety.
Yeah.
A lot of veterans live with anxiety, confidence issues, trust issues, like I mentioned earlier. So I remember one time I was working with a female veteran, and this was really her first session in the round pen. And I hate to use the word sweat, but she was sweating profusely. Are you okay? She's like, no, I'm super scared. I'm like, all right, we're going to do this together. All right. So first session, we worked through it, and she just left feeling so empowered.
Yeah.
This animal, that's why our tagline is empowering veterans one horse at a time. So she left there feeling empowered, and then each session after that, she just became more comfortable and more confident in herself. And she's even told me a couple of times how it's really helped her to learn how to communicate with confidence and really stand up for herself. So it's great stuff. Let's spend a couple minutes on the therapeutic horsemanship.
Sure.
Or from your side, therapy. Horsemanship, is that what you call it?
So it depends on how I'm looking at it. If I'm doing psychotherapy, I would just call it equine assisted psychotherapy.
Okay.
And then if I'm doing like the riding portion of it, we would call that either adaptive riding or therapeutic horsemanship. So I think that's where you're going, is the therapeutic horsemanship.
Yeah.
Sure. So I'm going to talk particularly about the cavalry training program because that's my baby. And what I'll do with the individuals that want to come through that program is teach them all about, like I said, those foundational concepts. So we talk about the plumb line, the natural aids, the in join up. I'll say it over and over again. The horse you have on the ground is the horse you're going to have under saddle. And that just teaches from the very beginning, from those very first moments, the importance of emotional regulation and being clear and being direct and straightforward with what you're doing. So when I'm teaching, we start with just the basics. Can you go, stop, turn? Can you just navigate around the arena successfully and not what we call jam the aids? So when I want to turn left, I'm going to look left, my weight goes left, my hand goes left, everything goes left. But if my right side is all funky, my horse might be a little bit confused.
Absolutely,
about what I'm asking for. So we talk so much so about being clear with the aids, and it's a military verbiage that I love. If I mess it up, please correct me.
Sure.
But it's slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
That's right. Or As this has nothing to do with this, hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait. Yes,
Yeah.
correct. It's a wonderful concept that many veterans are already very familiar with. The slow is smooth and smooth is fast. And it works so beautifully with horsemanship because the slower, quote unquote, the slower you move at the beginning, the more you understand what your body is supposed to be doing. Then as you get better and better, those aids can come faster, but they don't ever get jammed together. So even though it may look imperceptible, an onlooker might not know what's going on, the horse gets it because the horse is so well tuned into the language of the aids, which is another part of the cavalry training program, is that we're teaching the horse the aids. So we're teaching the horse how to listen as well. Because at the end of the day at Shea Center, we want our horses to be awesome candidates for hippotherapy, where they're working with our younger individuals who have some disabilities, whether that be physical, mental, or emotional, and they need more support. So we need solid equine citizens to be able to tote those guys around. So our veterans learn how to be clear, how to communicate, how to regulate themselves, and train our horses to be great citizens then to tote our other younger population around.
They're a great representation of ourselves. We're running out of time, but I just wanted to give you a minute here to share with the audience how they can get in touch with you.
Sure, absolutely. The easiest way to get a hold of me would be just to send me an email. My email is Rice, R-I-C-E, at sheacenter.org. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me, and I would be happy to talk about any of the programs that we discussed.
Perfect. And conversely, if you're interested in working with Veterans Strong, we do have a very friendly relationship with the Shea Center. I'm a huge fan of the Shea Center. I've learned a lot from Leanna. That's why she's on the advisory council for Veterans Strong USA. And if you would like to participate in the Veterans Strong USA program, you can reach me at veteranstrongusa@gmail.com. And again, want to thank Paul Roberts here with OC Talk Radio for giving us some time to really launch our show and get people aware of what's happening in our community and how they might be able to help. Our next show is Tuesday, September 16th, and I want to invite anyone on this show in the future who serves the veteran community and wants to participate in the Veteran Strong program, or just come and talk about what it is you do in the veteran community. Additionally, if you would like to sponsor this Veteran Strong USA podcast, you can reach us at veteranstrongusa@gmail.com. And one last thing, I have my second annual Ride to End Veteran Suicide.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I was going to say it if you didn't.
October 25th at Rayada Park in San Juan Capistrano. We're going to stage at Rayada Park at 8:30 a.m. We'll ride out at 10 a.m. It's about a 2.5-hour ride. Last year we had about 52 riders. We're expecting a lot more this year.
That's awesome.
And once we're done with the ride, we'll take our horses back to our respective barns, and then we'll meet down at Bad to the Bone in San Juan Capistrano, have some food and drink, and we'll have some guest speakers. Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And Paul, I'll turn it back to you.
Wow, a lot to take in. That's why we're riding along. We hope you will too, and join us as we project Veterans Strong right here in Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio, streaming live from our studios here at the University of California, Irvine's Beale Applied Innovation Center.